Long gone are the days of the $5 footlong. Fast food's getting way more expensive in recent years. Now a post showing just how much prices have spiked went viral on social media. For example, Chick-fil-A's nuggets increased 96% from $3.05 to $5.99. A McDonald's McChicken cost $1.29 in 2019 is now $3.89, a 200% increase.
$17 for 3 Filet-O-Fishes at McDonald's? Are you kidding me?
I don't have the money to buy fast food anymore.
Don't you just miss the days when fast food was actually cheap?
Fast food has remained a quintessential American convenience. For decades, it's been the go-to option for a quick, cheap meal. But recently, something alarming has been happening. Fast food prices are soaring, and it's impacting millions of Americans in ways we never imagined. What was once a convenient and affordable option for many families has now become a financial burden, weighing heavily on the wallets and well-being of countless Americans. In 2024, the cost of a typical fast food meal has skyrocketed tremendously, and according to a recent study, fast food prices have risen by 60% in the last decade and nearly double the rate of inflation over the same period. In 2023, numbers from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics show menu prices at restaurants and other food service companies climbed 5.4% in October when compared with a year earlier. Compare that to the general inflation rate of about 3.40% as of the last month of the same year, and you start to see the problem. As the cost of dining out or getting fast food continues to increase at an alarming rate, the root cause that many have blamed for this problem, inflation, may not be the only culprit. Specific operational burdens, supply bottlenecks, and policy changes in states like California are having a significant impact. In this video, we will talk about fast food inflation and uncover why it's wiping out thousands of Americans. In America today, it seems the era of the dollar menu has met its untimely demise as the fast food giants of America engage in a veritable tug-of-war with the wallets of the populace. Gone are the days when one could satisfy their midday cravings with a pocketful of change. Now a simple cheeseburger and fries will have them reaching for their firstborn as collateral. The almighty dollar has been dethroned, replaced by a new monarch that reigns supreme, the elusive 5 spot, the hollowed 10 spot, the mythical 20. The big question is, why is this happening, and where did it all start? There are several factors at play. First, the COVID-19 pandemic disrupted global supply chains, leading to shortages and increased costs for essential ingredients and materials used in food production in 2020 and the years after. Some also argue that the ongoing labor shortages across various industries have driven up wages, which in turn has contributed to higher operating costs for fast food establishments. Plus, new policy changes aren't making things any easier. While inflation is a nationwide issue, the situation is particularly dire in California, where a new state law has mandated a minimum wage of $20 per hour for fast food workers. This well-intentioned move was aimed at improving the lives of employees in the food industry, but it has also had unintended consequences. Unfortunately, it's the customers who end up bearing the brunt of these increases. In a city where the cost of living is an estimated 38% higher than the national average, this increment makes California fast food workers the highest paid in the U.S. Wage increases have also resulted in a drastic increase in operating costs for fast food restaurants in the state. Consequently, many chains have been forced to raise their menu prices substantially to offset these higher labor costs. So the fast foods that many have come to know as an affordable and convenient option for low income isn't what it used to be, and those struggling to make ends meet now have to stay away from fast food restaurants altogether. A report by the Food Research and Action Center, or FRAC, reveals that nearly 1 in 8 households with children in the United States struggles with hunger and food insecurity in 2022. These numbers paint a grim picture of the current state of the fast food sector in America. The iconic Big Mac, a staple of McDonald's menus, has seen its average price rise by 50% in the last 10 years, from $3.99 in 2014 to $5.99 today. Similarly, treating yourself to a quarter pounder with cheese meal at McDonald's would cost you $5.39 a few years ago. These days, you're looking at a price tag of $11.99. You're paying $6.60 more over the same period. The affordable lifeline for low-income families who needed a quick, budget-friendly meal is now on the flip side. and millions of Americans are left without any means of secure, affordable food. For families living paycheck to paycheck, even a small increase in food costs can have a big impact. When fast food is no longer a cheap option, it forces these families to make tough choices about where to allocate their limited resources. And the crisis falls back on fast food businesses, which have now begun to see fewer customers come through their doors. Because it costs about 21% more to eat out now than it did 3 years ago, franchises like Starbucks have recorded a 7% decrease in transactions. Kraft Heinz's quarterly sales fell 1.2%, and the company that makes Pringles and Pop-Tarts saw its North American sales volume decline 5%, according to the Wall Street Journal reports. With fewer people able to afford their meals, many fast food outlets are seeing a decline in business. These losses could lead to closures and job losses, further exacerbating the economic impact. These days, visiting fast food shops is almost as expensive as going to a sit-down restaurant. But it's not just fast food prices that are rising. The cost of groceries has also been climbing steadily. In 2023, food prices increased by about 5.8%, one of the highest jumps in recent history. This means that even grocery shopping has become a significant financial burden for many families. Staple items like eggs, milk, and bread have seen double-digit price increases, making it increasingly difficult for households to maintain a balanced and nutritious diet. On average, Americans spent $779 per month on food in 2022 and $9,343 over the full year. This shows that the double increase in grocery and fast food prices is hitting Americans hard. Since the fast food model relies on high volume and low prices, when prices go up and volume goes down, it creates a challenging environment for these businesses to run. We could even see a significant restructuring of the industry if these trends continue. Another worrying news is that despite rising operational costs, many large fast food chains are reporting record profits. This suggests that some of these price increases are not just about covering costs, but also about boosting profits. No wonder this issue is sparking a broader conversation about wage policies, corporate responsibility, and economic inequality. When higher wages are crucial for workers' well-being, there needs to be a balance that doesn't disproportionately burden consumers. It's important for the government to begin to scrutinize how necessary these price hikes are versus how much of it is driven by profit motives. Consumers deserve transparency and fairness, especially during tough economic times. Policymakers need to consider the broader implications of wage laws and inflation. Solutions might include targeted subsidies, tax incentives for businesses, or even price controls to prevent excessive markups. The burden of food insecurity on the general public is too much until it has now become a pandemic. According to a report by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or the CDC, food insecurity is linked to a higher risk of chronic health conditions such as obesity, diabetes, and cardiovascular disease. Additionally, children living in food-insecure households are more likely to experience developmental delays, behavioral problems, and poor academic performance. While the situation may seem bleak, there are steps that can be taken to alleviate the burden of fast food inflation on American families. Since wage laws have had unintended consequences on the operating costs of fast food establishments, which has now led to higher menu prices for consumers, policy solutions such as increasing minimum wage standards and providing targeted financial assistance to low-income households could help address the root causes of food insecurity. According to data from the Statistica, as of January 2024, the District of Columbia has minimum wages at $17, which is higher than the federal rate of $7.25 per hour. In some cities like Seattle and New York City, the minimum wage has been raised to $15 or more per hour. Activists also want a rise of the minimum wage in the fast food industry to $15 an hour across the country. However, fast food restaurants operate on very small profit margins. They can only afford such wages by raising menu prices significantly. Higher prices would in turn drive customers away, forcing even larger price increases to cover costs. Ultimately, the average fast food restaurant would have to raise prices by nearly 2/5. Beyond policy changes, fast food chains also face rising costs due to increased regulations and compliance requirements imposed by various government agencies. These include stricter food safety standards, environmental regulations, and labor laws. For instance, the Food and Drug Administration's, or FDA, Food Safety Modernization Act, or the FSMA, implemented in 2011, has imposed additional costs on food establishments, including fast food chains, to comply with new preventative control measures and record-keeping requirements. Since FSMA provides regulations for food defense plans, compliance training, and record-keeping, the initial cost for the first year of FSMA implementation was estimated to be between $520 and $860 million. million, and the food industry has to bear the brunt of these costs. Furthermore, government trade policies and supply chain disruptions, such as those caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, have also contributed to higher operational costs for fast food chains. A November 2021 survey reports that 91% of operators said their total food costs as a percent of sales are higher than they were prior to the COVID-19 outbreak. Tariffs on imported goods, transportation bottlenecks, and labor shortages have all led to increased prices for key ingredients and supplies used in fast food production. According to a report by the National Restaurant Association, 96% of restaurant operators experienced supply delays or shortages in 2021, and it isn't just food items that are in limited supply. Another report also showed that 8 in 10 operators experienced supply delays or shortages of equipment or service items in recent months. Table service restaurant menus were the most likely to be impacted by the recent supply chain challenges. 85% of fine dining operators and 81% of casual dining operators said their restaurant changed menu offerings as a result of food supply delays or shortages. The cumulative effect of these government policies, regulations, and supply bottlenecks has been a significant increase in the cost of operating fast food establishments, which has inevitably been passed on to consumers in the form of higher menu prices. For low-income families and individuals who have traditionally relied on fast food as an affordable dining option, these price hikes have made it increasingly difficult to access convenient and affordable meals. While government policies aimed at improving working conditions and food safety are commendable, their implementation has undoubtedly contributed to the rising costs of fast food in America. As policymakers continue to grapple with these issues, it is crucial to strike a balance between protecting workers' rights, ensuring food safety, and maintaining affordable access to fast food for all Americans, particularly those from low-income households. But as the situation unfolds, families are adapting in various ways. Some are cutting back on non-essential purchases, while others are seeking out food banks and community support programs to make ends meet. In the latest survey by Feeding America, around 95% of responding food banks reported seeing demand for food assistance increase or stay the same in March compared to February 2023, with around 65% reporting an increase in the number of people seeking charitable food assistance. This is a clear indication of how dire the situation has become. More families are coming to food banks for help because they simply can't afford to put enough food on the table. Even as community organizations are stepping up to fill the gap, they can only do so much. The root of the problem lies in the economic forces that are driving these price increases in fast foods and other food items. Fast food has been a staple of American life for decades, and as we face rising prices and economic challenges, it's clear that change is needed. Whether through policy, community action, or personal choices, we must find ways to build a more sustainable future for food security in America. If you like this video, hit the like button and help us spread the word. And remember to subscribe to get notifications on our latest news and analysis. In the meantime, check out one of these videos here to learn more. Thanks for watching.